Hello again, Gills fans. Welcome back to the latest episode of Gills in the Blood TV. It is Thursday, and you know what that means now. It's looking back at our previous game, which was on this case Easter Monday. We travelled north and we got dispatched 4-1 by a very good Blackpool side, our playoff rivals. That bid for the top six now looking very, very unlikely for the Gills, despite still having some very winnable games between now and the end of the season. So we'll look back at that, and once we finish discussing that, we will look ahead to Saturday when we take on Steve Cotterell's Shrewsbury Town, a game that's probably must win now if we do want to retain any hope of gatecrashing the playoff berths. But first of all, Monday 3 p.m. kickoff at Bloomfield Road. We started off really well. I think we created the first chance through Alex McDonald, half volley that went over the bar. Then we got caught by a sucker punch, didn't we? Ball got cleared. Stuart O'Keefe didn't look, went to go back to Jack Bonham, inadvertently played in Jerry Yates, who in his current form needed no second invitation. He scuttled away through on goal and slotted it calmly past Jack Bonham to put the home side 1-0 up. But I thought we reacted really well. We went straight back up the other end, nearly equalised. John Akindi, I thought, was very good for an hour. Got to the byline after pinching the ball off of one of the Blackpool centre halves, and I think he got caught in between two minds, whether to shoot himself or give it to Verdane Oliver. He chose to try and pick out our top scorer. And unfortunately, I think it was Luke Garbutt got across and covered, and the chance went. But we were level shortly after, and it was John Akindi who was involved again. Link-up play with Alex McDonald down the left-hand side. He managed to hold off his defender and spin and got a good ball into the box. And Jordan Graham, in fairness to him, still had plenty to do. Good first touch out of his feet, and he hit it left-footed on the turn through Chris Maxwell. And at 1-1, I thought we was in the ascendancy. It looked like we could go on and grab the game by the scruff of the neck. But unfortunately, it didn't work out that way. Second goal for me is not a free kick. I spoke to Tom, the Blackpool fan who co-hosts the Third Tier podcast with me. He agreed it wasn't a foul. I said on the Matchday Live that Jack Tucker's getting touch tight. Jerry Yates is just backing in. It's 6 of one, half a dozen of the other. And for some reason, the free kick went the way of the Tangerines. But from there, Luke Garbutt put in a really good ball. Jerry Yates' movement was spot on, and it's a really good finish, and Jack Bonham had no chance for the second time in the first 25 minutes, and sadly 2 quickly became 3. Now, I've seen this goal a few times now, and if we score it, I think we're sitting there and congratulating our players on what a brilliant team goal. So I don't know why some of our fan base have to try and pick holes and scapegoat our players and try and blame them for something that isn't their fault, essentially. And Ryan Jackson's been the prime target over the last couple of days amongst some of our fans. It's not his fault at all. Again, if you slow it down, if you want to pick holes, Stuart O'Keefe doesn't drop into space when he should after Alex McDonald goes to try and pinch the initial ball, and from there Connor Ogilvie gets dragged out of position. Ryan Jackson has to come across. He then gets back into position by the time the second phase comes. But it's a good ball into Sully Kaikai, and it's a really good finish from the Blackpool striker as well. It's one out of his feet, and it's a brilliant finish, arrowed across Jack Bonham, who again, absolutely no chance. And 3-1, we were staring down the barrel, weren't we? It wasn't even half time. We still created another couple of half chances. I think Stuart O'Keefe almost rectified his earlier error, pinched the ball in the middle of the park and drove into a dangerous area, but his left-footed shot, which looked goal-bound, was tipped round the post by Chris Maxwell, who was very good when called upon. At 3-1 at the break, we knew we was going to have to be a bit more open second period. We made a double change after about an hour. John Akindi and Alex McDonald, for me, our 2 best players first period, were taken off somewhat surprisingly. Ollie Lee and Dominic Samuel entered the fray, and within about 2 or 3 minutes we were 4-1 down. More good play from Sully Kaikai. Good feet on the edge of our box on the left-hand side. We didn't track the run of Elliot Embleton because we'd committed too many forward, trying to get back into the game and score the 5th goal. And at 4-1, it was done effectively with about half hour to go. Credit us, we kept going right to the end. It was just one of them days where you have to hold your hands up and say we were comfortably beaten by a better side at the top of their game and in the middle of a huge unbeaten run, which I think now stands at 13 and sees Blackpool 5th in the Sky Bet League One table. Ironically, we're going to have to cheer Blackpool on this week because I think they're away to Lincoln, who are back in action after missing 2 games with COVID and injury problems. So it'll be interesting to see how the Imps react. But of course, I think it's going to be Lincoln City now that everyone outside the top 6 tries to target if they want to get in. So ironically, be cheering on the Tangerines this week, just a few days after they absolutely slapped us up in the north of England. But that's enough about Blackpool. Like I say, one of them days, they were better than us. They comfortably won the game and deserved their points. We then move on to Saturday, 3 p.m. kickoff back on home turf at the Priestfield, and we take on this team. Steve Cotterill, Shrewsbury Town will arrive in Medway on the back of a very good Easter Monday win over Plymouth Argyle by 3-0. But their form aside for that has been a little bit in and out. So let's get straight into the comparative form of the two sides and have a look. Last 6 for the Gills. It's 3 wins, 2 draws and a solitary defeat, which came on Monday that we've already spoken about. So Gills have taken 11 points from the last half dozen games, which is by no means a poor return at all. Shrewsbury over that same time, 2 wins, 2 draws, 2 defeats, 8 points from 18. Gills at home on their own turf have been really good of late. Solitary defeat, which was against Peterborough, has been followed by 5 unbeaten games, which is 3 wins and a draw. So it's 13 from 18 over the last 6. Shrewsbury, pair of wins, pair of draws, pair of defeats on the road. So 8 points from 18 as they are overall. So it says that there's a question mark over which type of Shrewsbury team will turn up at the weekend. But on that subject, I'm now going to leave you with Dan Huff. He is a fan of Salop. You can find him at the Dan Huff on Twitter, and he's going to tell us all we need to know about the team that we will face on Saturday afternoon.
Hi guys, my name's Dan Huff, a long-standing 40 years plus now fan of Shrewsbury Town. Looking forward to visiting the Priestfield Stadium on Saturday for our regular encounter with the Gills. Now, I say looking forward to, of course we won't be there, as neither will you guys. It is a long trek for Town fans. It's one of the ones that we sort of look out for because it's a long way to go as we trek around the M25 there. And also, no disrespect to the away end at Priestfield, but it's pretty chilly where I am at the moment this week. So I'm sure if the weather were to continue, we'd be freezing for the best part of 2 hours in that away end watching the game. So we'll all obviously be watching from afar. We're travelling with a degree of hope. But I'm also not expecting masses from the game, if I'm being brutally honest. Now, that's despite the fact that we have generally a reasonable record at the Priestfield. I mean, we obviously gloss over a playoff final defeat against you guys, which was a pretty dismal game of football. But in general, it's been a pretty happy hunting ground. We've also done pretty well this season in terms of life under Steve Cotterill. Since Cots came in, our form has been generally pretty good. We're sort of, if you took the time that he started in November as a starting point, we'd be in the playoff picture. So that's a plus. Recent form not quite so good. We've been a little bit hit and miss. I don't think we'll be going down. We've got 49 points and 9 games left, so you'd hope we've got enough to be safe. But recent form's been sort of more mid-table, win a few, lose a few. And we've seen that over the Easter period. We had a good, convincing win against Plymouth, who were pretty dismal in the second half. But I'm sure they'll want to forget about that on Easter Monday. But we've also lost a couple of games where we didn't just lose, but we played poorly. We never really seemed to get to the sort of levels that we've achieved in January and February. So we may turn up and be quite convincing, or we may turn up and not be convincing at all. We will have to wait and see. In terms of the side, well, Steve Cotterill likes 3-5-2. Now, Cots won't be there. He's recently come out of hospital having had COVID, and it's been quite a heavy journey for him. We haven't seen him for around 3 months now, and you might notice Aaron Wilbraham on the touchline with his AirPods, and he'll be taking calls from Cotterill. Cotterill makes the subs. Cotterill very much is still the manager, but he's not been anywhere near the club for quite a while now. But we'll play 3-5-2. And we've got three centre halves who are pretty sort of happy in their positions. Certainly, Ethan Ebanks-Lundell has been around the houses. He'll play in the middle of the 3. Aaron Pierre, if fit, will play to his left. Although he pulled out 10 minutes before kick-off on Monday against Plymouth, so it's not at all sure he will be fit. Rashawn Williams will probably step in if that's the case. Now, Rashawn Williams, I think he's a solid enough player. He's got 10.900 metres in his locker, so he can often get back and cover mistakes, but he does make a few of them, particularly in distribution. So keep an eye on that. To the right of the 3, well, again, depends a little bit on who's fit, but it could well be Pennington, who's an Everton lad. He's been at Everton for what feels like 100 years, but he's coming to the end of his time at Everton, and he may well be offered a contract at the time if if we can, because he's pretty solid. So I think the three will probably be from those four. The fullbacks, well, Donald Love, former Manchester United Sunderland player, has come back from a period sort of in the wilderness where Sam Ricketts never picked him, and then a period of injury, so he'll probably play on the right, and he likes to get forward. On the left, Nathaniel Ogbeta. Now, he's probably the one player we've got to keep an eye on for the future. He's a young lad, he's only 19, his sister's an Olympic level triple jumper. He's got something. He'll get down a wing, he'll take players on. He's got a goal in him. He's scored 2 or sort of 3 if one is counted to him from a free kick that should do. That's, I think, gone down as an own goal elsewhere. So Ogbeta's a man to keep an eye on. He can cross a ball, he can shoot, and he's quite athletic. So he's been with us for about 2 months now. We got him from Manchester City. He's here till the end of next season. I'd arguably say he's our go-to player. In the middle of the park, well, Ollie Norburn is our captain. He'll be there with Josh Vella. They've been excellent in pressing defenders, in keeping energy levels up, and I think they'll be the two that sit. In front of them, well, it's a bit of a merry-go-round at the moment. It could be Sean Goss, another former United player, very left-footed, good distribution. It might be Harry Chapman, who's certainly got a good goal in him. He scored 5 goals for us so far this year. All of them have been good goals. But he might not get picked. He didn't get picked on Monday. One of those players that can be brilliant or non-existent. I expect he will play this time round. There is a bit of rotation going on, but we'll have to wait and see. Our big problem has been scoring goals, and it's up front that the issues really remain. Curtis Main may play, a big beast of a centre forward, but he doesn't score many goals, so he may play. Dan Udoh's rather more athletic, but the same problem, just simply not enough goals in the bank. So one of those two will probably play, and we may well have Sean Worley, who you may remember he's been with us for 6 years now. He may well be flitting around. He got 2 on Monday, and he'd expect to play following that performance. What else do we expect? Well, Steve Evans' sides, in my experience, are always up and at it. That they're always tough teams to play against. John Akindi's never easy. He was quite impressive in a 1-0 victory that I think the Gills had a couple of years ago, last year, immediately after we played Liverpool in the FA Cup. So we're not expecting an easy game at all. Gills clearly are on the up. I'm a little worried after what I think was a pretty clear defeat on Monday at Blackpool. My feeling is that we're in bounce back territory, so we will be taking precisely nothing for granted on Saturday. And to be honest, if you offered me a point now, I'm pretty keen. I think I'd take it. Hope it's a good game, folks.
Some excellent stuff in there, Dan. Really appreciate you getting that video over to me. It's great to continually get insight from fans of the teams that we're due to play. It's better than me just having a look. I can do research and all that type of thing, but getting it from the horse's mouth, so to speak, is much more informative for everyone that watches the channel. So appreciate that, buddy. Thank you very much. I've written down goals a problem, and you've mentioned it as well. Only 43 and 37 for your boys, which is only 1.16 per game. It puts a lot of pressure on your defence, which has done pretty well overall for a team in the bottom half. But it means that you're having to pretty much keep a clean sheet all the time to win football matches. But I think Steve Cotterill's done a decent job, albeit from afar. So we wish him all the best in his continued recovery from long COVID. But yeah, it's a squad for me, Shrewsbury, that, it doesn't stand out. There's not any particular players that jump off the page at you. People talk about us and Verdane Oliver's goal scoring, Jordan Graham, wing wizard, Carl Dempsey, midfield maestro, that type of thing. I don't see that with Shrewsbury, but what I do see is a squad full of hard-working, very honest pros that are well drilled by Steve Cotterill, and also Aaron Wilbraham, I think, who deserves credit at the moment. He's keeping things ticking over while Steve battles and fights back from this COVID that I've already mentioned. So I think a bit of credit to Aaron Wilbraham. Their form's picked up recently compared to what it was at the first half of the season under Sam Ricketts, and that's a reason he was sacked. I think they'll be fine in terms of relegation and remaining games. But Gills are strong at home, like I say, and we've scored 11 in the last 5, so I'm confident that we can get a positive result. In terms of team news for us, no Callum Slattery still, but I think Steve Evans is hopeful that Robbie Cundy will be back available for selection this weekend. So on the back of that, my team selection would be 2 changes from Monday's defeat. And that's nothing against those that are coming out of the side. I just think we need to freshen it up. We've played a lot of games. We only use about 14, 15 all the time. So there's a chance that a few players are going to look a bit leggy. We did against Wigan last Wednesday. We certainly did chasing shadows on Monday against Blackpool. So for me, the team would be Jack Bonham in goal, a back four of Ryan Jackson, Jack Tucker, the returning Robbie Cundy and Connor Ogilvie, so Tom O'Connor misses out. My midfield four would be Jordan Graham, Stuart O'Keefe, Carl Dempsey and Alex McDonald. And I'd make one change in attack. Again, after how good I said he was on Monday for an hour, you might be surprised. I've taken John Akindi out. I'm going to put Dominic Samuel in from the start. If he's going to have an impact on this run, and it has to start pretty soon with only 6 games to play, and you can't drop the top scorer. So for Dane Oliver alongside Dominic Samuel. Therefore, my bench, if everyone is fit and available, is Sasha Bastien, Robbie McKenzie, Tommy O'Connor, Maddie Willock, Ollie Lee, Tyreek Johnson, and Big John Akindi. Right, score prediction, always the big question before I let you go. Based on their in and out form, the fact that we've been very strong at home, and also the fact that something that Dan alluded to as well, I think we might get a performance because the players are going to be hurting after that spanking on Monday at Blackpool. So I'm going to go for a final score of Gillingham 2, Shrewsbury Town 1, and I'm going to back Dane Oliver and Dominic Samuel to score our goals this weekend. Right, that is nearly it from me. Please continue to follow the Third Tier Podcast on Twitter. We are now over 1,000 followers, which means I think giveaways. I know Tom is sorting them out, so keep your eyes peeled on their social medias. Go and subscribe to the Third Tier YouTube channel as well. They are over 100 now. Really appreciating all the support on it. It's great fun doing it and talking about all things League One rather than just Gillingham specifically. And don't forget to download the Fan Hub app and then look out for them golden tickets to skip the huge waiting list. Harley and the boys really pushed it over the bank holiday weekend, and we're approaching 3,000 fans involved on the app now, which is brilliant to see. I think the movement will only continue to grow as and when we can start getting ourselves back into stadiums. Friday tomorrow, which means we're very close to the weekend. But yeah, please keep liking, subscribing, retweeting, doing all that you do on all 4 social media platforms for us. And until next time, up the Gills.